information. Then, aha, it's kind of like these cases that Starmer's in trouble for. That's been on the internet forever. And it's only when Elon Musk starts talking about it that your couch potato boomers like, oh, they did what? And now they know. But some people were screaming about that as it was happening till they were blue in the face, and they would just call them white nationalists or whatever, or need to dismiss them and da, da, da. Can't do that now. And that's the thing. We have to have influence over the people with influence. And that's when these things would get resolved. I had one day talk about this stuff with Elon Musk, to talk about Epstein. He's like, where are the clients? I'm like, here are the clients. I'll give you the receipts. To talk about Diddy, to talk about Z, to talk about Miller, talk about Nygaard, Scully, the New Met crew, Sunborn Institute, all that stuff. You want to talk about international terrorism? I can tell you that works too. The problem is the people with knowledge and the people with money aren't usually the same people. The people with a lot of power who could do something about it have no clue how this stuff works. They're just now finding out a case from 13 years ago in Britain. I'm like, hooray, you got like one crumb off the table. I'll take it. But man, can you imagine if the people that have reach, with, however many million Twitter followers that guy has, actually knew what was going on, the amount of good they could do, all the damage they could undo by just telling the truth. But the problem is, like someone asked before, like, wouldn't they just shoot him?
Well, Tucker and Candace are talking about things you've been talking about for 20 years, Ryan. So the question for you is, from Real As It Gets, what are your thoughts about the fires in Hollywood?
I did a video of that with Scott Ritter, who, by the way, aside from being an intelligence officer and a Marine, was also a fireman, highly trained fireman. And we talked about that. There's a lot of things wrong. Some of this is natural in the fact that it is a fact that there were 8 months with no rain. Okay, that's, no one can do anything about that. So it was dry as a bone, but there is no excuse for not having water in the reservoirs. They've had a law that the Owens River would fill up Lake Tahoe all the way back since 1994, that it would be 17.4 feet, and it only was filled 4.1 feet. So only 23.5% of what they promised. Where is the other 76.5% of the water? And then the water reservoirs they use for the fire hydrants and they pull in for the hoses and stuff, it wasn't there. And it hadn't been there. I mean, not enough, none at all since February of 2024, basically a year, 11 months, from February to January, no water. So it's not that the fire department on the level of firemen training, all that, they know how to do it. The California Fire Department is actually one of the best in the United States, maybe the world. They have to deal with fires all the time, but it doesn't matter how good you are if you don't have water. But they've been decapitated because a lot of their leadership was just woke morons that didn't deserve the job. And you have to blame the LA government, not just the mayor who is vacationing in Ghana while their city's on fire, but the fire chiefs too, because they're not communicating to each other, and no one checked, besides the media, to look and go, how come the reservoir is empty? What's going to happen if we have a fire? They didn't rake the leaves, which you need to do. I mean, you can fight fire with controlled burns, making stripes so it won't skip and then burn down your houses. None of the steps that you could do as a fire department were taken for preventative measures, and you didn't have water, and you had 8 months of no rain. Now, in addition to that, you have arsonists. You have people purposely setting fires. And it's not just homeless people. There are people with different reasons to want LA to burn, whether it's in insurance, real estate, etc. And the insurers, by the way, after about 6 months of no rain, they said you can't get fire insurance because they understood how bad it's going to be. And 2 months later, it's a massive fire they can't put out. Another problem that exacerbated the whole thing with palm trees. all these celebrities and suburbs and stuff in LA, there's palm trees everywhere. Palm trees are not native to California, much less LA. But they've, and I had a friend tell me about this back in 2015. He lived in Marina Del Rey, right in the middle of LA. And they they were replacing the native foliage with palm trees. He's like, this is so stupid. It's costing all this money. Those things are torches. They dry out, they burn. They're not supposed to be here. So in order to keep the palm trees alive, it takes landscaping and all this water and all this stuff you have to do, which is extra cost for the tenants to pay for the aesthetics, whatever, of a palm tree is dumb. And we saw one ember from wherever, a mile away, touches that palm tree, boom, fire. You would see palm trees on fire. There's no fire around. There's houses and there's just a palm tree on fire by itself. But then finally people got it on film where just like the tiniest little thing went and then smoke, boom, flame. Those things are just flammable tortures and they're next to all the houses. Unbelievable. And then they didn't have water pressure and people panicked. And then there was looting because people evacuated. So other people went and stole all their stuff before the fire came. And multi-million-dollar homes have been burned down. Cry me a river to the sea. But all the animals and all the people that lost those houses, and you shouldn't be like, haha, rich person lost their house. It's never funny when anybody loses a house. And also regular people lost their houses too, if you want to categorize it. But so much damage was done. And Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan about a month before the fire. He did his infamous or famous Joe Rogan interview and said, they have no water and they're not raking the leaves and they just let the water go into the ocean. They could let it come out. They could have plenty of water. I had it. Gavin Newsom wouldn't do it. They wanted to save some fish or something, which makes me kind of agree with Mel Gibson that this was on purpose. They let this, that's the smelt fish or whatever. Like, that's not the reason. They don't want to fill up the lake. They like the dry climate and all this stuff. I swear I am cynical enough to think they wanted to burn it down and build a smart city like or something. Like, how could anybody be this stupid? It has to be on purpose. But then you look at the mayor and she did a speech and she went to everyone and said, if you need information about the fire, don't worry, you can answer all your questions. Just go to URL. And that's somebody that wrote the speech, where they wrote URL, they were supposed to say whatever the URL was. She just said URL. So maybe they are that stupid and incompetent, and it's not on purpose. But, that's what you get when you don't have voter ID. They just put these dumb puppets in there that do whatever they're told, total psychopaths. And Gavin Newsom, as Trump calls him, could have prevented this. He could have let the water in there and they would have been able to put it out. They know how to put it out. They could have used seawater. That's debatable. I personally think they should have when it's at this point, and it's still on fire. It's still on fire. And people were caught lighting fires and trying to blame it on the 5 fires. And then you have the kooks saying it's space lasers and stuff. I'm like, wow, you would rather blame lasers hitting the trees than to admit your government is retarded. Your government's incompetent. It is. You had some 300-pound lesbian fire chiefs that shouldn't be there. Now, I will say this. There is a clip of a woman and she's an administrator. Okay. She's not actually like a on the ground fireman that goes in houses with a green note and all that. She's some administrator. And so she's saying, well, they're like, well, you couldn't pull my husband out of the fire. And she says, well, he got himself in the wrong situation if I have to pull him out of the fire. But it's like, if I have to pull him out of the fire, because I'm not a fireman, I'm in the administration. So we're in a bad situation if I'm the one going to do it. That's what she meant. However, it doesn't matter because it's still the same because the people who are supposed to get her out of the fire look like her too and couldn't lift somebody anyway. They're not basing it on merit. They had all these DEI hires because I don't know. Affirmative action was made illegal by the made unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So they just said, okay, then this is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's the same thing. Well, not anymore. Trump got rid of that. And I think LA, America's second biggest city burning down, finally was the sobering wake up call for these people to knock that off. But
all right,
I was guilty of ripping into that fat girl too, and I realized later like it had been clipped out of context. So I apologize to her, but still F her because you're the minister. Well, then where was the damn water? Because that was your job.
We started on the inauguration. Let's finish on it. We've got a question from Angel. What does Ryan think of Elon's salute yesterday? People on here are mentioning it.
This is okay. So I know people think that was the German salute. He was saying from his heart. I'm not going to mimic it because someone will
someone
will like screenshot my hand or whatever. So
yeah,
it's the Roman salute. He hits his heart, like from my heart, and then out. And he turned around and did it again. But I saw something else. If you look at, you have to look at the whole setup. What was Trump wearing? His tie. What color? Do you remember? He didn't wear a red tie. It was royal purple, like the old Roman dictators. And Elon is doing a Roman salute. And what was Melania wearing on her head? Do you remember the pattern? Do you know what that is? Your history, and no, it's not V for Vendetta. The FX for bringing that up. Like no. Stop kooking this up. It's all the attire, the display, down to the statues in the background position. It's all Roman, and it's all for the initiated would pick up on this like that. And Trump even said, I'm going to be a dictator, but only the first few days, like a Roman dictator. Meaning, and again, he's all hyperbole. Okay. So he's not actually, going Mussolini or something. He meant, I'm going to get 100 executive orders and sign them all and undo all the damage to Biden. And he did with his purple tie, with his purple Roman tie, and his giant son, future king of Greenland and all. Vance had the red tie, but if you look at Melania's hat and you look at the purple Roman royal purple, if you guys know the history of colors, why they and then you look at Elon's Roman salute to the front and back, like who? Then you can see that's not Elon being a spur gun on accident. This is, I don't know if they think it's just fun to mimic this stuff, but they were sending a message to the initiated of how things are going to operate. And Rome was an empire for 1,000 years. And if you listen to Trump's speech, it's like, this is Liberation Day. This is Liberation Day. Well, they had the olives on the tray, like a crown of olives. Like, go back now that go back and watch the speech and pay attention to the fashion and with Rome in mind, and you will see so many Easter eggs.
Well, that's all we've got
time. I know you run out of time. I could talk about Rome for a long time.
I've got to get Ziggy to the doctors again. But huge thank you, Ryan, for coming on. So all of Ryan's links are in the description box. We've got this Twitter. We've got some other episodes he's done on Diddy. We've got Ryan's store. We've got reams of Ryan's products from his store in this house presently, and I'll put the link in the live chat as well.
Is in the store, Anti-Neocon. Oh, by the way, antineocon.com is now a store link too. So it's easy to remember, Anti-Neocon. And yeah, I really appreciate it when you guys get the Jeffrey map or New Mech, or you get clothing or something. That really helps because I'm not monetized on anything. And so that's what we got. And instead of, I mean, you can send a donation. I appreciate that, but if you buy a product, it's a win-win because I will get some, you get something, and some of the things in there you can't find it anywhere else. So, yeah, we even have a Jeffrey hoodie now.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Is there
got the
anything you
client
like?
list on the back. Yep.
Is there anything you like to say in conclusion to the viewers?
Well, let's, Trump's going to make some mistakes, but I think America's back. I hope this puts pressure on the world. I hope we can make Britain great again too. If we get the duo back together, it'll clean up everything else. Like that would be enough to tip the scales. We don't need a war with Russia. We don't need a war with Iran. We don't need any of these imperial escapades. You need to focus on domestic issues, keep holding their feet to the fire, support, real alternative media because we are having an impact. Everything is downstream from culture. Culture and media affect everything under it. And you do have a role and you do have a say in that. And with Trump doing its success and America getting back on its feet, you can see the same kind of style, maybe in Australia, maybe in Britain, maybe in Ireland, saying, you know what? Why don't we strengthen our border? Why don't we deregulate? Why don't we do like what Americans do? Look how rich they're getting. You lead by example. That's what he's going to do. And so, I know some of you hate his guts, but just wait, just watch. Watch how fast things improve. Now, some of the things, Gulf of Mexico taking over Greenland, kind of, hey, it's Trump, but the serious stuff like women's sports has been saved. That happened just like that. That's what I said. The low hanging fruit, just boom, get rid of that. Common sense, two genders. Thank you. Dollars up. Trump coin made a bunch of people rich. So things are about to change. America's back. And so they don't have, if America's not part of the cartel, it's over. I mean, that is the biggest player. And so let's continue to put pressure on Trump so that he stays that course and he doesn't drift back into team Zionism. If we can get him to put America first, America's domestic issues, stop meddling in foreign affairs. And I think the most important executive order he did was the 90-day pause on foreign aid. That's going to change everything. And I wish that 90-day would just stay, 180 days, 360 days. Just keep it going. Quit paying foreign despots, and they'll sort it out. So yeah, let's look forward to a brighter future, and hopefully we can end this pointless war between Ukraine and Russia, and that we can focus on the real crimes, the transporters, the people like Robert Miller, and catch them earlier so that all these women don't get abused, and sometimes boys. Let's more media on that, less media on celebrity gossip and whatever. And hopefully also TikTok will remain free. They've got 90 days to respond to that too. Man, the more competition and free speech, the better. And I encourage you to, why not start a Red Note? Why not get a Telegram, a Rumble, a Substack? You got to support where there is alternative media. You can't say we need this, and then there it is, and you don't use it. Get off your meta addiction because it's disgusting and start using these platforms. If you're a YouTuber, simulcast a Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey. Start doing that. The more we work together, the more we network. Like I can come on Shaun's show. He's welcome to come on my show too, although I don't have a YouTube. The more we network, the better we build, the faster we build. We're all in this together. I want what America has for everyone else. I don't want to enforce it on them, but I want it to come from within. I want to see Great Britain be great. I'd like to see France, without people throwing manure on the walls and throwing their money away. I wish Germany would turn their nuclear power on and stop. There's so many stupid things Europe has done that could be undone so fast. Have a border, things like that. Don't stab people. Real common sense things. That's what I wish for all of you. And I hope you can take this Trump energy. I hope it resonates in and you have your own equivalent MAGA moment and you can take your country back for your people.
Well said, brother. Much love and respect to you. Thank you for spending so much time with us. I'm going to close the show. I will let you go, and all of Ryan's links are in the description box. Please click and support. Cheers, my friend.
Get a Jeffrey map.
Get a Jeffrey map. I've got one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Right, what a phenomenal guest. So delighted to have Ryan back on. I've got the map. We've got even baby clothes from Ryan's shop for Ziggy. And all of those of you who've been asking about Ziggy. So he's got a poorly stomach. He needs to see a doctor. And we're going to take him to the doctor now, actually. He's been doing backflips and just pushing himself all the way across the room or all the way across the sofa. His tummy's hurting that bad. But let me let you guys know what's coming up. So if you missed us with Lionel Media last night, this video is going to finish and it will send you over to what we did with Lionel Media last night. And I was laughing like crazy. It was one of Lionel's finest performances, but he was talking about many of the issues that Ryan has covered today. But he's got away with words, hasn't he? Like a stand-up, it was like a stand-up comedy performance. All right, so Ron's got his daily shows back nearly every day this week. We have got Beverly Rhodes talking about cryptids coming on later this evening. I might be doing a show after that. Tomorrow night is the big night with ex-cop Maggie Oliver. She's the one who exposed the Rochdale scandal, the grooming gangs. We've got a 2.5-hour pre-record with her, and then we've got a live Q&A with her. So get your questions ready, folks. And yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be monumental tomorrow night. And then we are going to schedule the rest of the week soon. I think we've got Kirby Summers coming back. She was with us doing a lot on the Epstein case, and she's going to be talking about Diddy. So we're trying to get that sorted for the next couple of nights. So wherever you are, much love and respect. Thank you for supporting baby Ziggy. He's going to be fine. He's so strong, so robust. This is the first time he's got really sick, and they told us that's quite a miracle. That he's almost 1.5 years now, and he's never been sick before. So he's going to be back to his normal self, running around the house, causing mayhem in no time. Yeah, he's got yellow diarrhea as well. He's had that all week, and I've had some kind of virus where I had a similar situation down there. So maybe we've both got the same kind of virus. That's what I am assuming here. And it's kept him up late into the night, between 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the night, every night this week. We've been up with Ziggy, so it's took its toll on Jen. We've all started to lose our sanity a little bit, but I'm sure after we take him to the doctors today, we will get to the bottom of it and get him sorted out. But yeah, thanks for all your loving support and energy coming in for Zig, and we will keep you all updated.